So when it comes to beat matching, one of the trickiest things is to hear if the track that you want to mix in is playing too fast or too slow. How do you do that? Let's talk about that right now. This is Share the Knowledge.
I'm djTLM, and this is Share the Knowledge.
So I did have one more question I want to talk about also in my email inbox, and this is about beat matching and especially about a very tricky part of beat matching. Now, when you want to beat match, you want to make sure that the track is playing and the track that you're bringing in are playing at the same tempo. So you cue up the track, the new track on your headphones, you start to listen to it, and you try to match that tempo. Now, of course, if you're using sync, you'll click sync, and if everything is right, it'll probably work. But let's just assume that you're doing this by ear because that's how you mix or because sync is not working. Now, when you do that, you're going to bring it in and listen if it's playing fast enough or too slow or too fast, and then you adjust the pitch accordingly until you get it right. If you're totally new to this concept, make sure you check out my beat matching tutorial. Check out the card or link in the description box down below. But here's the thing. I have a question that I received from someone who's actually struggling with that very thing right now. So let me read the question. I've been trying to learn how to DJ for the last year on beat matching alone. And with house music, I practice at least 2 hours a day. Every day I have the DDJ RX controller and software. I practice the one ear on and one ear on the monitor. So you have your headphones on one ear. The other ear is free. I play the same way so you can hear the sound coming from the monitor. I know other people like to just have their headphones on and do everything in the headphones. You need to find what works for you, but I do the same thing. So let me get back to it. So trying to beat match the BPM without looking at the laptop, and I get a drift when playing two tracks, but I can't seem to work out which track is playing too fast or too slow. Are there audio cues and echo when trying to beat match this way? Your YouTube video really helped me beats, bars, and phrases. The counting music video, cool. So nice one. Advice or tips would be much appreciated. All right. So like I said, it's tricky, and I had that same issue when I first started to teach myself how to beat match. I understood that they had to play at the same speed, because if they're not playing at the same speed and you play them together, you get that train wreck effect. You get kicks and snares all over the place on both sides, and it sounds horrible. So you want to have them playing at the same tempo, so they're playing in sync. They're playing aligned, and that sounds right. Especially if you have tracks, so either if you're mixing house, where you have that 4 to the floor drum pattern, you have that kick drum on every beat, you want to make sure that they're playing at the same speed, because then you still hear that kick drum, but just on both sides. If they're not playing in sync, you're going to get they're going to mess up. If you're using tracks with a drum pattern where you have kicks and snares, with most of those drum patterns, you have a snare on the 2 and 4. You want to make sure that the snare on both tracks is playing at the exact same time. Otherwise, it's going to sound real messy. Here's the thing. You have to focus on a specific sound in one of the tracks. Now, I wasn't using a lot of house. So for me, the focus most of the times will be on the snare drum, because that was a more steady factor than the kick drums. Especially with hip hop, the drum pattern has the kicks placed differently in a lot of tracks. So one track could have a kick on the 1 and on the 3, but then you have other tracks that have kicks that are going boom, boom, ka, boom, 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 whatever, all over the place. So in that case, the snare would be that steady factor. So I would have one track playing, I hear how that snare sounds. Now I get my other track ready and I listen to that snare. Most likely that snare will not sound exactly the same as the snare already playing. So when I start to add that one in the headphones and I listen to the other track on the monitor, I try to focus on that snare to hear if it's falling exactly in line with the other snare. And since I'm focusing on that one snare, I can hear if it's falling before or behind, or before or after the other snare. So that helped me out. I just focused on that one. Now, let's take it back to you. You're talking about house. That's kick drums. Now, I understand a lot of these kick drums might really sound a lot alike, but there should still be a difference. If not, hopefully there's an extra sound in there. If it's a hi-hat or whatever type of sound, if there is a sound in there that's not in the other track, that could be your indicator to see if that one falls in line with the other one. Now, if the kick drums sound too much the same, so it's really hard for you to hear the difference between the two, then I suggest you try to work with the cue assigned on your mixer. Now, I was using a lot of mixers that had little sliders. So when I wanted to cue on the headphones, if the slider was that way, I was hearing that deck. If I had it that way, I was hearing that deck. And what I would do sometimes is I would actually listen to the one that's already playing. I will focus on that one, and exactly on the one where you get that kick, I would slide to the other side just on that timing, so I would only hear that deck, and I would hear if that kick was also exactly there. Go back to that one, so I hear that one. If it's playing like this, and I switch my cue to the headphones to the other track, I should have the kick exactly there too. So I would switch, and if I heard the kick exactly there, I knew it was on point. If I did it and I switched to the other deck and it came a little bit late, I knew it was playing too slow, so I had to speed it up. So I was cueing between the two to hear if they're playing at the same time. Now, if you don't have that slider and you have buttons to cue, you get your headphones on, and first you have the track that's already playing, cued in your headphone, and then once you get that rhythm right, you listen to that kick, then you switch it to the other deck, and you should hear that kick exactly at that same point. If it's not there and it's a little bit late, or it's already past that point a little bit, you can figure out which one is playing slower or faster. I understand that this might not make it clear enough for you, so I will do a video probably this week or next week, just a short video to demonstrate what I mean with that cue effect. Hopefully that helps. But if not, remember the other thing I just said. If there's any sound in there, so if you're using drum patterns with snares, focus on that. One time, one might have a snare, another might have a snap or a clap. That makes it even easier to recognize. And even then, I sometimes use that same cue technique, go back and forth. And after a while, I got used to it. Now, you've been practicing for quite a while and you're still not getting it, so maybe you need to try a different approach and just get the headphone on both ears and switch between the cues. Try that technique for a second, see if that helps you out more. But I'll make a video to demonstrate. I want to make that a question for you at home as well. How did you get past this problem? What's your preferred technique to hear if the track that you're cueing is playing too fast or too slow? What do you focus on when you're doing that beat matching, that part of beat matching, the most important part of beat matching? Knowing if the track is playing too slow or too fast. What do you focus on? What do you listen for? I also understand for a lot of you digital DJs that you might use the information on your screen. If you're using any DJ software, you have the WAV files, and if they're playing right there on your screen and you're using kicks, boom, 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 or kicks and snares, you can see if they're playing in sync, and if not, you can see which one is playing ahead or behind. I know that can help you out, but that's what the question here says. This person is actually practicing to do it without that screen. I feel that's very important because you have to realize you might play with a laptop now, but maybe in the future, near future, way ahead in time, or just by accident because you don't have a choice, you might end up playing on a device where you do not have that screen. If you're playing with CDJs, they have a screen, but they show one screen there, one screen there. You don't see them lined up below each other, so you can't use your screen to see if they're playing in sync already. So it would be great practice to practice doing it by ear. To me, it's a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing it. But even if you don't really enjoy it, I still feel that any DJ should be able to beat match by ear. Even if you never use it, having that skill, knowing that you have that backup plan if anything goes wrong with your digital equipment, it's a great feeling. It's always good to add that to your skill set. So once again, question of the day: How do you determine if the track you're mixing in is playing too fast or too slow? What do you focus on in that track? Let us know in the comment section down below. Join the conversation, share the knowledge. So you just checked out another clip from my Share the Knowledge podcast. To check out full episodes, go to iTunes, Anchor, or SoundCloud. Links to everything in the description box down below. If you're new to my YouTube channel and you enjoyed this video, make sure you like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.